So the last video ended with the moment I was attacked. But before I go into who attacked me and how he got in, I want to step back and recap what had already happened, because I need you to understand the sheer gravity of what I was carrying at the time when I was attacked. My sister was raped and murdered in 1990. Her body wasn't found until 1991. Her killers were caught in 1992 and 1993. Her trial was scheduled for the fall of 1994. Her killers, like I mentioned in a previous video, were Cuban refugees from the Mariel boat lift. If that doesn't ring a bell, think about the movie Scarface. Most people have seen that brutal film about the cocaine trade and the violence that gripped Miami during that time. The beginning of that movie actually shows real-life footage of the Mariel boat lift, including Castro himself explaining how he released criminals into the U.S. intentionally. That's who killed my sister. Why did they do it? They were out on bail for drug trafficking charges. It is believed, allegedly, that the FBI was trying to work a plea deal with them to catch a bigger kingpin. They needed money for their lawyers, so the father had a genius idea to rob a bunch of pawn shops. Yes, commit another crime to take care of the original crime. The FBI, to this day, has refused to release those files. I know that because one of them is up for parole. Now, fast forward to my attack, June 26, 1994, just months before her trial. The amount of trauma I experienced, both primary and secondary PTSD, was beyond anything I can describe. I still don't know how I made it through that time. And I'll get into that more later. But first, let me tell you who attacked me. He was an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. He told the police he had been stalking me. He'd noticed me when I would go pay my rent at the apartment complex where he lived. My landlord owned several properties, and unfortunately, that's how our paths crossed. He broke in through my sliding glass door. I had no idea how easy those were to break into. It was locked, but that didn't matter. He got in like the professional he was, hardly made a sound. I was dead asleep. In my first video, when I said sleep became a luxury, this is what I was referencing. After that day, I could never sleep again unless someone was awake nearby, keeping watch. Even then, it was a struggle. Nobody in my family could come and help because they were dealing with my sister's murder trial. I understand that now, but in the moment, it stung. It hurt deeply. I thought perhaps I needed to die to get the attention I so desperately needed. And how the hell did I deserve this? I was just a single mom trying to raise her little girl with no help from anybody. And that's why I was working 100-hour work weeks. I couldn't be alone. I couldn't work after my attack. Thank God I had some savings. I couldn't go to school. I was basically a prisoner in my own home. By September, I moved in with my boyfriend, despite all the red flags, because I just needed to feel protected. I just needed someone near me when I finally did fall asleep. I had night terrors. I'd wake up screaming, drenched in sweat, or worse, sleepwalking, running through the house trying to escape. I'd wake up because I ran into a wall. That's the level of fear I lived day in and day out. And to make it worse, he was released on bail, gone, nowhere to be found. I thought he was coming back for me. Every shadow, every creak, my mind convinced me he was near. When you're living with that kind of PTSD, your brain doesn't know what's real anymore. There was no sense of safety for me, ever. The doctor offered me sleeping pills, but I was so paralyzed by fear, I was afraid to take them. What if he broke in again? What if I couldn't defend myself? What if I didn't wake up? And all of this was happening while I was hearing the horrific details of my sister's case. That she'd been raped repeatedly. Yes, by all three of them. In fact, the father, the ringleader, bragged about it in prison to his cellmate. He said they tortured her for 2 days. When they finally decided to leave town and head to Miami, they stuffed her alive into the trunk of a car with a pillow over her face. Imagine that car ride for her. They drove to the place where the fishermen eventually found her, made her get on her knees, and shot her in the back of the head, execution style. Then they just left, not even burying her body. And this was the world I was living in every day.